Hello, dear KVY aspirants. So, here we will be starting our next lecture today. Yes, as per your demand, we are going to start today with PYQs and MCQs for you. As already these two chapters, that is human reproduction and reproductive health, have been taught by us, that is myself and Diksha ma'am's videos are available on PW English channel. Please scroll down those videos and listen to those lectures. Then you will be solving these questions. So let us start our topic today. These topics we'll be discussing today, that is human reproduction and the reproductive health. So we have combined this in one lecture only because you have less time now for the revision. So let's start with our first question, that is the Leydig cells. You see now the Leydig cells, they are, as they are found in the human body, are the secretory source of. So as you know, the Leydig cells are also called as interstitial cells. So Leydig cells are also called what? Interstitial cells. Okay, they are also called as interstitial cells. Write down fast. Okay, so now what they do? These are the ones which produce what? So if you talk about Leydig cells, so you have the seminiferous tubules, and outside the seminiferous tubules you have what? You have those Leydig cells here. Okay, so this is the seminiferous tubule. These are seminiferous tubules, and outside the seminiferous tubule you have some cells called what? Interstitial cells. So these are what? These are the interstitial cells or the Leydig cells. Clear? What they do? Now there are some blood vessels also, you know that, and they release hormones. So which type of hormones are coming from the Leydig cells? That is your androgens. Please mark this. Yes, very important point, that some students may think that KVPY is asking too many complex questions or something. No, it is not such. It is not the case. If you see those previous years questions, you will find the very easy question. This question has come in 2017 in KVPY exam. So don't think that they will be asking only tough questions or something. No, be prepared well. That's it. You should have the knowledge. That's it. Come on. The next question we will see, the shared terminal duct of the reproductive and the urinary system in human males is. Now he is talking about the shared terminal duct. So if I talk about the urinary bladder, okay, so if I talk about the urinary bladder, that is also releasing into what? The ureters are coming here. These are the ureters which are coming here. Okay, so this is the ureter. It is dumping into the urine into the urinary bladder, and this urinary bladder is leading to what? A duct called what? Urethra. Correct. Now this urethra joins what? The duct from the reproductive systems also. Like vas deferens will come and drain the seminal, that is fluid, in what? It will join the seminal vesicles and dump those contents in what? In the urethra only. So if I talk about the urethra, that is somewhere the shared terminal duct between what? The vasa deferens, that ejaculated duct which is coming from the vas deferens and the seminal vesicles together, and the duct from the urinary bladder. So this is the terminal shared duct. And listen, male urethra is very long as compared to female urethra. Okay, so that is why the females have more urinary problems, because of the length of the urethra is less in them. So here the answer should be what? The urethra, because the terminal shared duct, if I talk about, will be the urethra. And in males the urethra has actually three major parts. You can say four also if you go in details. So one is the membranous urethra. Okay, so if I talk about the sequence, the first will be the prostatic urethra. The first will be the prostatic urethra, membranous urethra, and the penile urethra. Even you can find the bulbar urethra also, but that we will not discuss that much details here. Okay, so these three parts you remember. So one is the prostatic urethra, one is the membranous, and the other one is penile urethra. So if that asks you which is the smallest part of the male urethra, it is the membranous urethra. Okay, and the longest is your penile urethra. Got it? So let's move to the next question now. Now you see, the question says, if for some reason the vasa efferentia in the human reproductive system gets blocked, if you block those vasa efferentia, now if you remember, the vasa efferentia were leading to what? Epididymis, and the epididymis was leading to what? The vas deferens, if you remember. So this was the testis. From the testis, these testicular lobules had the seminiferous tubules. Those seminiferous tubules which were there, they were leading to what? These seminiferous tubules, they were leading to what? They were leading to the straight tubules, tubula recti. Then tubula recti will lead to what? Tubula recti will lead to the rete testis. So here was the rete testis also. You can see here. There was the tubula recti now. So these tubula recti will lead to what? Rete testis. So here comes the rete testis now. So here was the rete testis region. Okay. So this rete testis is going to lead to what? It is going to lead to the vasa efferentia now. You can see these are vasa efferentia. So vasa efferentia, see, they are conducting what? They are conducting the sperms from the testis to what? To the vas deferens. So here you see now, this is the epididymis here. This is the epididymis. Okay, and this epididymis is going to lead to what? This epididymis is going to lead to the vas deferens. You see here, this is the vas. Okay, this is the epididymis, which has three parts here. So if you go through the lectures, you'll understand the theory also. This is the epididymis, and these are what? Vasa efferentia. So this is vasa efferentia. Please remember. Now you see one very important point. Now if the question says, now if you block these vasa efferentia, if you are blocking these vasa efferentia, so what will happen? Will the transportation of gametes will not happen to epididymis to vas deferens? Why? Epididymis to vas deferens can easily happen here because there is no blockage here. Ovary to uterus, we will not talk about this. Vagina to uterus, nothing, no relevance here. Testis to epididymis, yes, because this is the testis part. Okay, so from the testis to the something has to go to epididymis, that is gametes, has to go to epididymis. So this is the area which they have to pass through. If you block this area, what will happen? The gametes will not be transported from the testis to epididymis. Got it? So this is very important concept here. Please keep noting these things. If you have any doubts, please refer to the lectures given by me and Diksha ma'am on PW English channel, and the videos are there. You can scroll down and listen to those videos for theory purpose. Okay, so let's see the next one. Sertoli cells are found in. Now Sertoli cells, as I have discussed in the lecture also, they are also called sustentacular cells. Okay, they are also called as nurse cells. So when the word says nurse, so they'll be providing what? Nutrition to the sperms. Developing sperms require nutrition, and that nutrition is going to be given by the Sertoli cells. Got it now? So let's see. Will the first option be relevant for this, because this is for male reproductive system? Nowhere. Now this is adrenal cortex, and they're talking about the adrenal gland. Nowhere related. They are found in seminiferous tubules and provide nourishment or nutrition to germ cells. Absolutely correct. Got it? Such a easy question now. Again, I am telling you, KEPY has these type of questions only. Don't worry about that. Okay? Don't think that those type of questions are not asked. Very tough questions are. No. Okay? You should have a basic knowledge, proper knowledge. Understanding should be there. Now, vasa efferentia are the ductules leading from. See, just now I told you, vasa efferentia are the ductules will lead from what to what if they ask you. So let's see. They lead to testicular lobules to rete testis. No, they are beyond rete testis. So this is wrong. Rete testis to vas deferens. Yes, this can be correct. Let's read the other options. Vas deferens to epididymis. This can't be correct. This can never be correct, because that is the reversal will not happen. Now, epididymis to urethra, nowhere, because the vasa efferentia is before epididymis. So this is also ruled out. So you have the rete testis to vas deferens, the correct answer, because The rete-testis will lead to vasa efferentia, and vasa efferentia leads to epididymis, and epididymis leads to what? Vas deferens. Okay, so very easy question. If you know how the pathway of the sperm is there, how the sperms pass in that region. Okay, so remember that. Now, seminal plasma in humans is rich in. Now, seminal plasma, what is seminal plasma? It is a fluid secreted by the prostate gland, the seminal vesicles, and the bulbourethral gland. Okay, so all these three glands secrete some fluid with the sperms. Okay, this is called semen. Okay, but without semen, you will say it as seminal plasma. So seminal plasma in humans will be rich in. It will be rich in fructose, yes. Calcium, yes. Certain enzymes, yes. It also contains some enzymes. So this is absolutely correct. So we will not go through all those options because anyway they are almost similar. So this is fructose, calcium, and certain enzymes is the answer for that. Let's see the next one now. Hysterectomy is the surgical removal of. See, this is very easy question if you know the terminology. Now, uterus is also called what? Womb. Uterus is also called as womb. Okay. Now, it is also called as hystera. So, if you talk about hysterectomy, it will be the surgical removal of what? Uterus. So, surgical removal of uterus will be what? Hysterectomy. Got it now? In the same way, if the question comes salpingotomy, suppose salpingotomy. So salpingotomy is a surgical removal of what? If I ask you, salpingotomy is a surgical removal of what? So you should be able to answer it. Okay. So this is the surgical removal of fallopian tubes. Okay, or the oviduct. See, that is why terminology is very, very important. If you know the other name, you will be able to easily answer. Okay, so please try to know the terminology of those organs. Let's continue. So now the next question, that is a part of the fallopian tube which lies closest to the ovary is. Now closest to the ovary he is saying. So this is the fallopian tube. Okay, so this is the fallopian tube here. Okay, and this is the uterine region. Okay, this is the fallopian tube. Now he is asking which is the region which is closer to the ovary. So here is the ovary here. Okay, here is the ovary. So this is the ovary here. So the first part, if I talk about the first part of the fallopian tube, that will be what? Infundibulum. Write it, infundibulum. Okay, here is what? Here is your ampulla. Middle part is ampulla, which is the wider part, and here is the isthmus. So which is the region which is closer to the ovaries? That is your infundibulum. Okay, so we'll go for what? Answer as infundibulum. Got it now? Easy, very easy for you. Chalo, next one, next question you see. Which of the following cells during gametogenesis is normally diploid? He is asking. So gametogenesis, which cell is diploid here? So if I talk about primary polar body, which is there in oogenesis, there is a release of primary polar body, first polar body if I say, then that will be haploid. So this is what? This is haploid. Okay, it has half the set of chromosome number. Spermatid is also what? Haploid. Okay, spermatogonia, yes, these are the ones which are going to give rise to primary spermatocytes and the secondary spermatocytes and even the further division. So spermatogonia will be what? 2n number, that is diploid. So you can go for this as the correct answer. Got it? See, if you know the sequence, if you have studied the process properly, like spermatogenesis, oogenesis, you will have these, you will solve these questions very easily. So again I am telling you, please refer to those videos If you have any doubt, you can just watch those very fast on 1.25, 1.5x, anything. So that will work well for you. Okay. Now let's see. What is the sequence of sperm formation? Now, sperm formation, when it takes place from spermatogonia. So first you have to see where is the spermatogonia written. Here it is written. Here it is written. Here it is written. It is not written here. So this is ruled out. Okay. Anyway, let us see maybe what they're talking about. Spermatogonia, then spermatozoa. No, spermatozoa is haploid. This can't come just after spermatogonia. Okay. Spermatogonia, then spermatocytes. Yes, that is primary spermatocyte and secondary spermatocytes. Then spermatids. Yes, then is the spermatids which are formed, and then is the spermatozoa. Yes, so this is absolutely correct. So we can go for the second option. Got it? From the spermatogonia, that is diploid, primary spermatocyte and secondary spermatocyte are formed. Primary spermatocyte is diploid, which is formed from the spermatogonia, and then forms from the primary spermatocyte. Secondary spermatocyte is formed by first meiotic division. Okay, and from the secondary spermatocyte, the spermatids are produced by meiosis 2. Okay, second meiotic division. So this is the absolutely correct answer. You got it? Come on, the next one now. Which one of the following statements is false in respect to viability of mammalian sperm? Very important. See, viability he is talking about. So viability of mammalian sperm is what? 2 to 3 days. So let's see which option is correct in that. Is sperm, he is asking false here. So sperm is viable for only up to 24 hours? No. It is 48 to 72 hours. So this is absolutely wrong here. So we can go with the answer here. He is talking about the false statement. Got it? Next question you see. Which one of the following statements about human sperm is correct? So he is again asking the correct option. Think over it. Read those options. Okay, then we'll proceed further. Acrosome has a conical pointed structure used for piercing and penetrating the egg, resulting in fertilization. Okay, we can take this. Okay, but he is saying it has a conical pointed structure used for piercing and penetrating the egg. No, this can't be correct because they have enzymes, but still, let's wait. The sperm license in the acrosome dissolve the egg envelope, facilitating fertilization. Yes, see, this is a better option, so we can just go for this. Okay, this is a better option than that, so we can go for this. At least we'll read the other options also. Acrosome serves as a sensory structure leading the sperm towards the ovum. No sense here. This is a Golgi body modification. Acrosome serves no particular function. That is also not correct. So we'll be going for this as the right option. The sperm license in the acrosome dissolve the egg envelope, facilitating fertilization. The sperm license are very important to penetrate inside the egg membrane. Got it? So this is the right answer. We'll be going for it. Okay, so let's move to the next question now. Middle piece of the sperm possess. This is a very important question, and in many cases, students give wrong answer for this. So just let me know what you think about it first. Okay, is it the mitochondria and the centriole, or the mitochondria only, or the centriole only, or the nucleus and mitochondria both? So see, if I talk about the middle piece of a sperm, okay, so you have the sperm here. So if I talk about the sperm, it is the head. Okay, then it has the neck here, and then you have the middle piece. Okay, then you have the tail. Now you see, very important here. If I talk about the head piece, okay, this has the acrosome inside, the nucleus and the acrosome here. So here is the nucleus, so here is the acrosome. Okay, so nucleus I'll draw a little bit smaller. Yeah, so let's see. Now you see, if I talk about the neck piece, the neck. So neck will be having what? Neck will be having those centrioles. The proximal centriole and the distal centriole you will find in the neck region. So this is the neck region. Okay, this is the head. Okay, so you have the acrosome here. This is the acrosome. This is the nucleus here. Outer is the plasma membrane. This is the proximal centriole. This is the proximal centriole here. Okay, and next one is the distal centriole. Got it? So this is the distal centriole. Now you tell me what you will find in the middle piece. Now this is the middle piece of the, this is the middle piece. Now what you will find in the middle piece? Now you will get the answer. See, so this is the way. If you know the things properly, you'll be easily able to get the answer. Now tell me what should be the answer for this. This has a mitochondria, you know, this has the mitochondria in a spiral way. Sheath it is found here. Yeah. So answer should be mitochondria only. Got it? Clear to you? Yes. You may be thinking that, you know, it should have some centriole also. No, centriole is not coming in the middle piece. It is just in the neck region from where the axoneme structures will form, and the proximal centriole will take part in the first cleavage process. Got it? So let's move to the next question now. Now think over it and then tell me the answer. How many sperms are formed from 50 secondary spermatocytes? From 50 secondary spermatocytes, how many, you see, read the question properly. 50 secondary spermatocytes. He is saying 50 secondary spermatocytes. He is not saying primary or something. So if you have the spermatogonia, okay, so spermatogonia will produce what? This is diploid. This will produce what? Primary spermatocyte. Okay, now primary spermatocyte is what? This is also diploid. Primary spermatocyte is also diploid. Now primary spermatocyte, when it divides by meiosis 1, how many secondary spermatocytes are formed? 2 secondary spermatocytes are formed. Secondary spermatocytes. So secondary spermatocytes are what? Haploid or diploid? So they will be haploid. Okay. And now each secondary spermatocyte is going to divide into what? 2 spermatids. Okay. 2 spermatids. I'll write it here. Now you see 2 spermatids. Each is dividing into what? 2 spermatids. You see, this is also dividing into what? 2 spermatids. So total how many are formed is 4. So now you have to tell me secondary spermatocyte. Now each secondary spermatocyte, okay, is forming how much spermatids? These are spermatids here. So if there are 50 secondary spermatocytes, so how many spermatids will be produced? That is, spermatids are going to give rise to what? Sperms. So see this sequence and tell me now how many sperms will be formed from 50 secondary spermatocytes. So it should be your 100 sperms. Okay, 50 will produce what? 100 sperms total now. Got it? Next question you see now. Select the incorrect statement here. So what is incorrect statement? Let's see. LH and FSH decrease gradually during the follicular phase. Do they decrease or increase? Check it. LH and FSH during the follicular phase, they are going to increase or decrease. So here only you saw the what? Some mistake. And he is talking about the incorrect answer only. So LH and FSH, these are going to gradually increase during follicular phase, not decrease. Is it clear now? Is it clear to you? If you would have read menstrual cycle properly, you will be easily understanding it. So menstrual cycle, if you have not studied, just refer those lectures which we have given and check those videos. You will find it very interesting. Easily you can do all these questions. Got it? So let's move to the next question now. Which of the following events is not associated with ovulation in human female? So ovulation will be involved in releasing the secondary oocyte? Yes. During ovulation process, the Graafian follicle ruptures, and what is released is what? Secondary oocyte. Okay, so that is correct answer. Even ovulation requires LH surge. Obviously, LH has to go to a peak to release, to go for the rupture of Graafian follicle. So that is also correct. Decrease in estradiol. Why the estradiol should decrease here? There is no reason for the estradiol to decrease during ovulation process. Estrogen level has to be normal. Okay, there is nothing wrong in estrogen because the follicular phase was there, and the follicular phase was the one which was developing those follicles. So it has not happened that estrogen has got very low and then the rupture has taken place. No, that is not the case here. So there is not going to be any decrease in estrogen to release the ovum, that is secondary oocyte, from the Graafian follicle. Okay, so here it will be wrong answer, and they are asking about the wrong answer here, which is not associated with ovulation. Got it here? Okay, next question now. So let's read. First you read this question and then we'll solve it. Okay, first you read this question properly. Now, no new follicles are formed in the luteal phase of menstrual cycle because no new follicles are formed in the luteal phase of menstrual cycle. So luteal phase is also the secretory phase. If you know, it is the secretory phase. So why the new follicles are not going to form? Okay, so you have to think over it. Both FSH and LH levels are low in the luteal phase. Obviously, why the FSH and LH level will be high there? Okay, so this is the correct answer for you. Both FSH and LH levels are low in the luteal phase. Only the one hormone, that is progesterone, is on rise there. So progesterone is coming from the corpus luteum. Okay, corpus luteum is there, which is releasing that. Got it? Yes, LH is maintaining it. LH is maintaining the corpus luteum. Got it? So FSH and LH, they are not going to be very high at the time in case of luteal phase. So there can't be any follicular development. Okay. Next, you see, next question, that is secretory phase in human menstrual cycle is also called, just now we talked about, secretory phase is also called as what? Luteal phase. And we have described this in the lectures also. Secretory phase is the one which is called as luteal phase in the ovarian region, and it is constant for 14 days. Luteal phase is constant of 14 days duration. Okay, so this is a fact based question, you can just see that. Next question, you see, if mammalian ovum fails to get fertilized, which one of the following is unlikely? If the mammalian ovum fails to get fertilized, it is not fertilized now, so what is unlikely? Will the corpus luteum disintegrate? Is the corpus luteum going to disintegrate? Is the progesterone secretion rapidly declining? Okay. Is the estrogen secretion further declined? Estrogen secretion is further decreasing, or the primary follicle starts developing? What is unlikely here? See, if the ovum fails to get fertilized, yes, the corpus luteum is going to disintegrate. Yes, the correct option. But you have to find out which is not correct. Unlikely. Okay, so which is unlikely you have to find. Now, progesterone secretion rapidly declines. Yes, because of the rapid decline of the progesterone, the ovum, the menstruation will happen, and that happens because the fertilization has not occurred. So this is also correct option. Estrogen secretion further decreases. Now estrogen secretion further decreases. Why it should not be a correct option? Unlikely. It is unlikely. Yes, it is a correct option. So it is not going to be unlikely, it is going to be likely here. So this is a correct option here, which is going to happen actually. So if the mammalian ovum is not fertilizing, estrogen secretion obviously will become a little bit more low. So the only option which is left with us is what? Primary follicle starts developing, because when the estrogen secretion is further declining, how the primary follicle will develop? This can't happen anyway. So we will go for this as unlikely event. Unlikely means it's not going to happen. Okay, this is the unlikely event. So you understood my point now? Because the estrogen is also declining, so how the primary follicles will develop? So this is the correct answer for this. Okay, this should be the correct answer for the question. Is it clear with you? Let's come to the next question now. Read the question properly first. Read the question properly here first. Ovulation in the human female normally takes place during the menstrual cycle. So ovulation in the human menstrual cycle normally takes place during the menstrual cycle, mid of the menstrual cycle. At the mid secretory phase, no, it can't take in the mid secretory phase. Secretory phase is of 14 days. There you can't expect that menstruation will start. Okay, just before the end of the secretory phase. Is it just before the end of the secretory phase? Okay, wait for this. At the beginning of the proliferative phase. Proliferative phase means the one which is taking follicular phase in the ovarian region. No, here also it can't be there, because after the proliferation only it will take place. So the end of the proliferative phase, yes, this is more likely answer, I think. At the end of the proliferative phase is a better answer, as the question, this one, the just before the end of the secretory phase, or you can say at the beginning of this proliferative phase, these are all wrong answers. Okay, just before the end of the secretory phase also it can't take place. So this is the only option which is correct here. At the end of the proliferative phase, what happens is menstrual cycle will happen. Okay, correct. Ovulation will happen, sorry. Ovulation is going to happen at the end of the proliferative phase. Okay, and at that time only the ovulation will happen. That is the mid of the cycle. Clear? Chalo, next question we'll see. Next question we'll see now. So we were talking about the ectopic pregnancies are referred to as. So ectopic pregnancies, if I talk about the pregnancy which gets established or the implantation happens in any other region than the uterus, that is called as ectopic pregnancy. Suppose it happens in oviduct somewhere, so that can be a big threat to the life of the women also. Okay, the mother also can be in danger. So ectopic pregnancies are the ones which are referred to as. Is it the implantation of the defective embryo in the uterus? No, this is not correct. Okay, next you see pregnancies terminated due to hormonal imbalance. Nowhere we talked about hormonal imbalance or something. Okay, pregnancies with genetic abnormality. No, this, if genetic abnormality is also there, that will be established in the normal position. So implantation of embryo at site other than the uterus, yes. So this is the right option which we talked about. So ectopic pregnancies are those which get implanted in any other region, any other site apart from the uterine region. Okay, so this will be the answer for this question. Next question you see. Next question says capacitation occurs in. Now capacitation is a very important phenomena which is responsible for the hyperactivation of sperm. So hyperactivation of sperm, it requires what? Hyperactivation of the sperm requires very fast movement, and for that fast movement, okay, the calcium ions also have to come. So calcium ions also will be involved. The calcium ions also are coming. They are also helping in the fast movement of what? The flagella. Okay, so these calcium ions also are responsible for the fast movement. The movement of the tail or the flagella will become very fast. Moreover, the cholesterol layer which is there, it is removed. Cholesterol layer over the sperm is also removed. And these all events, they take place in the female reproductive tract. So here you see capacitation occurs in red testis, no. Epididymis, no. Vas deferens, no. It will take place in what? Female reproductive tract. This is very important phenomena for the fertilization to happen. If the sperm is not hyperactivated, then the fertilization will not take place, because the sperm which is most efficient has to reach the egg or the ovum to fertilize. So for that it is very important. Okay, so this phenomena will take place in the female reproductive tract. Now you see the next question. What happens during fertilization in humans after many sperms reach close to the ovary? You see, many sperms have reached close to the ovum now. Okay, so what will happen now? See, only one sperm has to enter, not more than one, and there's a specific event which has to go there. For that, there's a fast check on polyspermy also. Okay, depolarization takes place. So how it takes place, you see, secretions of acrosomes helps one sperm enter the cytoplasm of ovum through the zona pellucida. Absolutely correct, because the secretions of acrosome are going to help the sperm. One sperm is going to enter. Okay, next option also, you see, all sperms except the one nearest to the ovum lose their tail. No, that's not the phenomena. Cells of Karna radiata trap all the sperms except one. No, this is also not correct, because Karna radiata is not going to trap all those sperms anyway. Okay, so one which has a acrosome will be releasing the Karna penetrating enzyme that will dissolve those Karna radiata cells. Only two sperms nearest the sperm penetrate the zona. No, so this is the only option which we can go for, that is secretions of acrosomes which are called zona the sperm license. So those sperm license are going to help one sperm to enter, which is more efficient. Okay, that's going to enter. So this is the right answer for this question. Next question you see now. Failure of testis to descend in the scrotal sac. Now failure of testis to descend in the scrotal sac is known as, now you should be knowing it. It can't be impotency. Okay, impotency is when the penis is not able to get erect. Castration is the removal of testis. Now removal of testis is not the one which is the reason for the failure of testis to descend in the scrotal sac. Failure of the testis to descend in scrotal sac, this is due to low secretion of testosterone. Okay, during the 7th month of pregnancy. During 7th month of pregnancy, what happens? During 7th month of development. During 7th month of development, what happens is the testes descend down the inguinal canal and they come into the scrotal sac, and that is because of the testosterone. The testosterone hormone level should be proper. Okay, so testosterone hormone level is not proper, then this phenomena will not happen, and the disease is going to be called as cryptorchidism. Okay, that is called cryptorchidism. So this is the right answer for this. Got it? Next question you see, abdominal passage which connects the abdominal cavity with the scrotal sac in mammals. With the scrotal sac in mammals. Abdominal cavity is linked with what? Scrotal sac. So this is the inguinal canals actually. Okay, so here is the inguinal canal region. So inguinal canal region is there, from which the abdominal part connects to what? The scrotal sac region. So this is the one called as inguinal canals. So inguinal canals are going to connect the abdominal region to what? The scrotal sac. Got it? Through which the there's a tube also going inside, that is vas deferens is also passing into that. Vas deferens is also going in from this region only. It is going to get inside the structure there only. Okay, in the inguinal canal. So this is the way they are going to lead to that area. Okay. Now we talked about this abdominal passage which connects the abdomen cavity with the scrotal sac in mammalian is known as inguinal canal. Got the answer? Prostate gland which secretes an alkaline fluid is present. Now the prostate gland, where it is present, he is asking. So is it between the bladder and the rectum? Between the bladder and the rectum, we'll think over it. Beneath the Cowper's gland? No, Cowper's gland are beneath that. Around the first portion of the urethra? Yes, this seems the correct answer, because first portion of the urethra only you can locate the prostate gland there. And around the spermatic cord? No, the spermatic cord can't be the answer, because spermatic cord is the one which is leading to the inguinal canal, through which the blood vessels, the nerves, these are going to lead to what? The vas deferens is going to lead to the inguinal canal. Now you see, so this is the only correct option now left, that is around the first portion of the urethra you'll find what? Prostate gland. Got it? Next, the major part of semen. The major part of semen is secretion from. Now the major part of the semen comes from the seminal vesicles. Seminal vesicles release around 60 to 70% of the seminal plasma fluid. Okay, so the answer for this will be what? Seminal vesicles. Okay, seminal vesicles are the paired glands which produce a maximum amount of seminal plasma. Okay, got it now? Next, you see now, the sperms achieve motility and maturity in. So the sperms achieve motility and maturity, if the question comes, then it should be epididymis. Epididymis is a region where the motility and the maturity of the sperm starts. Okay, so this should be the right answer. I think epididymis should be the right answer for this. Okay, so you go for epididymis. Sperms also get stored also. Even the storage also. Temporary storage also happens in what? Epididymis. Yes, they are stored in those, later on also in the seminal vesicles, but still the storage, temporary storage also takes place in what? Epididymis also. Got it? Next question, you see, which of the following protein binds with testosterone and concentrates the testosterone in the seminiferous tubules? It also concentrates, he's asking. So which protein is there which is concentrating the testosterone in the seminiferous tubules? Already these things have been talked in the lectures which we have described. Okay, so you go for androgen binding protein. Androgen binding protein, which is produced by what? Sertoli cells. Remember, it is produced by what? Sertoli cells. This is the one which is going to what? Which is going to cause the concentration of the testosterone region. Testosterone. Okay. So this was the right answer for the question. Next question, you see, that is the sugar fructose is found in the secretion of. Now sugar fructose is found in the secretion of which of the following gland, he is asking. Is it the prostate gland or seminal vesicles or papillae or the Cowper's gland? Okay, is it the Cowper's gland or the seminal vesicle or the papillae or the prostate gland? The prostate gland is not going to produce any fructose. Fructose comes from what? Seminal vesicle secretion. Fructose will be secreted from the seminal vesicles. Got it? Inhibition of uterine contraction ceases. Okay, and bleeding and cramps of menstruation begin. So there is a inhibition of uterine contraction and bleeding and cramps of menstruation begin with. Increase in the level of progesterone? No, it can't happen due to increase in level of progesterone. Decrease in estrogen? No, no way related here. In the decrease of estrogen is also not related with menstruation anyway. So decrease in the level of progesterone? Yes. The decrease in the level of progesterone is responsible for what? Menstruation to happen. Got it? Next question, you see, mark the odd one from the following hormones. which are produced in women only during pregnancy. Now see, these all questions you will be able to answer if you have read or have you listened to those lectures properly. Okay, so please go through the lectures if you want to solve each and every question correct. Mark the odd one from the following is asking which are produced in women only during pregnancy. So only during pregnancy which are produced, and he is asking which is not being produced now. Odd one out. So HCG is produced, yes. HPL is produced, yes. Progesterone is produced, but it is not produced only during pregnancy. Okay, relaxin is produced only during pregnancy. So answer will be what? Progestogens. Progestogens are not produced only during pregnancy, they are produced otherwise also. So we can't go for only during pregnancy. That's why you see the question is says that they are produced only during pregnancy. That's why this is the wrong answer. Otherwise, it's not wrong. Pregnancy also has a level of progesterones. Okay, the progesterone level is okay, but it doesn't mean that it is produced only during pregnancy. Okay, in a non-pregnant female also you have progesterone levels high when the the luteal phase. In the luteal phase you have the progesterone high. Okay, so let's see the next question now. Human chorionic gonadotropin, which is secreted by the chorion, takes the job of one of the following hormone of pituitary during pregnancy. Very important question. Now he is asking that which is the hormone which is taking the job of one of the following hormone of pituitary during pregnancy. See, earlier the pituitary was releasing luteinizing hormone, correct? Earlier the pituitary was releasing luteinizing hormone, which was maintaining what? Corpus luteum. Corpus luteum was being maintained by the release of what? By the release of LH. LH was releasing the LH was maintaining the corpus luteum, and corpus luteum was producing the progesterone. So who was maintaining in the early stages? It was LH hormone. Now after the formation of placenta, this LH is getting replaced by what? HCG. Okay, so HCG now takes over. So it took over which hormone he is asking? It took over the luteinizing hormone. So now luteinizing hormone is being taken over by what? That is your LH, which was maintaining the corpus luteum earlier. Now who is maintaining the corpus luteum? That is HCG. Got it now? Next question you see. Heart sound of fetus can be felt through the stethoscope after. So when are you going to feel the heartbeat of the fetus? It is heartbeat of the fetus can be heard just after the 1 month. 1 month of the fetus, you can just see that the heart starts beating, and it can be heard through a instrument called a stethoscope. Got it? Is it clear with you? So just after 1 month you can hear the heart sounds. Which layer of the uterus undergoes cyclical changes during the menstrual cycle? See, during the outermost layer is perimetrium. Okay, innermost layer is endometrium, and the middle layer is myometrium. Okay, so which is going to be involved in the menstrual cycle, which is undergoing the cyclical changes? If they ask you, then the answer should be endometrium, because endometrium is the one where the cramps will happen and those blood vessels are going to get damaged. That is the layer only which is undergoing the cyclical changes during the menstrual cycle. Got it? If 50 spermatids undergo spermiogenesis, then how many spermatozoa will be produced? See, spermatids he is asking. So if you talk about spermatids, so spermatids only just give rise to what? Spermatozoa. Spermatozoa are released by spermatids by a process called spermiogenesis. So spermiogenesis is releasing what? Spermiogenesis, by which the spermatids are just turning into spermatozoa. They were round shaped structure at this time. They just change into what? They just change. They are having now the flagella or the tail. Okay, so just turning. So you will say that suppose one is there, it will turn into one spermatozoa. One spermatid turns into one spermatozoa. So 50 spermatids are going to turn into what? 50 spermatozoa. Is it clear to you? So 50 spermatids are going to turn into what? 50 spermatozoa. Is it clear? Let's move to the next question now. The inhibin protein which suppresses FSH synthesis is secreted by, okay, which is secreted by now. Is secreted by what? See, when the testosterone level increases, then the Sertoli cells will be releasing the inhibin protein to suppress it. Okay, they will be suppressing the FSH release also. So the Sertoli cells are the responsible for the suppression of FSH synthesis when more of the testosterone is there now. Okay, so answer should be here, Sertoli cells. Have you got this now? Clear? Okay, next question you see. Next question you read once. Each testicular lobule is surrounded by. Now he is asking, there are around 250 testicular lobules, okay, in the testis. So he is asking that each testicular lobule is surrounded by which layer? So if I talk about the testis structure, as you know, the outermost layer what was tunica vaginalis, correct? Tunica vaginalis was here, and it is double layered. Okay, it is outer and inner, in which between there's a fluid also. Then comes what? Then comes your, these lobules. These are testicular lobules now. These testicular lobules are covered by what? These testicular lobules are covered by what? These are covered by a membrane here, and this membrane is called what? This is the tunica albuginea. So tunica albuginea is the one which covers what? Tunica albuginea covers the testicular lobules. So answer, you got it now? You got the answer now? Tunica albuginea is the one which covers the testicular lobules here. So answer should be tunica albuginea. Clear to you? It's all easy. It's more of fact based. If you just listen to those lectures, you'll find that once you go through those lectures, you can solve these questions very easily. Okay, it gets imprinted in your brain. So once you go through the lectures, you'll find these questions are very easy now. Now, which of the following part of the female reproductive system can be included under female accessory ducts? See, let's see the accessory ducts. So what are the accessory ducts? If I talk about those gametes, when they are carried to the particular region, so those ducts which help in the process or the passage of the gametes is called as what? Accessory ducts. Or they help in what? Implantation in case of females. So female accessory ducts will include oviduct, yes, uterus, yes, and vagina, yes. If I talk about the primary reproductive organ, that will be ovary. Okay, so female accessory ducts, if I talk about, it's oviduct, uterus, and vagina. All of these is correct. Which hormone is the first to increase its level during secretory phase of the menstrual cycle? So first hormone to increase its level will be what? Progesterone. Because you can see the BBT, that is basal body temperature. Basal body temperature rises. So why this basal body temperature rises? Okay, this rises just when the ovulation takes place. So it is the marker also. This is the marker. At this time only the coitus is recommended, so that the more chances of fertilization are there. Okay, so the first hormone to increase its level during the secretory phase or the luteal phase will be your progesterone. Okay, progesterone is thermogenic. Why does BBT rises? Because progesterone is thermogenic. It produces what? Little bit of heat also. So thermogenic hormone is progesterone. That is why the BBT rises. Got it? What would happen if the ovaries of a pregnant woman are removed in the first month of the pregnancy? See, if the first month of the pregnancy, within the first month of pregnancy, you remove ovaries, obviously the ovaries were having those corpus luteum and all, and they were maintaining the progesterone level. So what will happen now? Progesterone level will not be maintained. So progesterone level will not be maintained. So what will be the Consequence, will it be abnormal development of fetus? No, there's nothing called abnormality in that fetus first. Normal development of fetus also will not happen. So ultimately, yes, abortion can happen, because abortion will happen because the progesterone level has become less. If the progesterone level becomes less, definitely there's going to be abortion. Okay, so please remember this. The female planning programs were periodically assessed over the past decades, and improved programs covering wider reproductive related areas are currently in operation under the popular name called, see, earlier they were called the family planning programs, but afterwards they were changed. The name was changed as reproductive and child health care programs. So here the answer should be reproductive and child health care programs. Now, diaphragms, cervical caps, and vaults prevent conception by. So what does do these diaphragms, vaults, and the cervical caps will do? These are actually barriers. So they are going to be a blockage between the passage of the gametes. Okay, so is the option 1 correct? Let's see. Increasing phagocytosis? No way increasing phagocytosis of sperms within uterus. Suppressing the sperm motility? No, this is a function of IUDs. Inhibiting ovulation and implantation? No, this can be pill or something. So blocking the entry of the sperms through the cervix? Yes, because the gametes are blocked now. So blockage of gametes will be a case of what? Diaphragm, cervical cap, and vaults. Is it clear? Which of the following is the correct statement here? IUDs suppress gametogenesis. Why they will suppress gametogenesis? Okay. IUDs once inserted need not be replaced. No, they have to be replaced after 2 or 3 years. IUDs are generally inserted by the user herself. No, they require some trained technician or the nurse or the doctor. Okay, so this is wrong. IUDs increase phagocytosis of sperms in the uterus. Yes, it increases phagocytosis if it is a hormonal IUD. If this IUD is a hormonal IUD, this will increase the phagocytosis. Next question you see. Hepatitis B and HIV can be transmitted from one person to other by sharing of injection needles, surgical instrument. Yes, it's a viral disease. So if injections are shared or the needles are shared, definitely it is going to be infected. Transfusion of contaminated blood. Yes, it's a viral disease. From infected mother to the fetus. Yes. So all answers are correct here. Okay, got it now. Next question you see. Contraceptive Saheli. Saheli is a non-steroidal drug. If you remember, non-steroidal drug which is produced by CDRI, which has been produced by CDRI. Okay. Is it an IUD? No, it is a pill. It is a pill. So it is not a IUD. Increases the concentration of estrogen and prevents ovulation in female. No way. Ovulation is normal in Saheli. If anyone takes Saheli, the ovulation is normal. So it's not going to increase the concentration of estrogen and prevent ovulation in female. No way. Blocks the estrogen receptors in the uterus and prevents the egg from getting implanted. Yes, this is the right answer, because Saheli is a non-steroidal drug and it blocks what? The estrogen receptors. So it is no way disturbing the ovulation process. It is disturbing the implantation process. Okay, by blocking the estrogen receptors. So absolutely correct here. So you go for the C answer. Okay, third answer. Which of the following STD is not caused by virus? So which are the viral disease you have to check simply? Genital herpes, AIDS, genital warts, all are what? The viral diseases. So which is not the viral diseases? Gonorrhea. This is caused by Neisseria gonorrhoeae. Okay, so bacteria is Neisseria gonorrhoeae. So this is the bacterial here. Please remember, this is a bacterial disorder. Okay, others are what? Viral disorders. So simple. Which of the following is hormone releasing IUD? See, CU7 is copper releasing IUD, correct? Copper releasing IUD. This is copper releasing IUD. Okay, LNG20, yes, this is the right answer. levonorgestrel. Levonorgestrel is a synthetic progesterone which is there in the hormone releasing IUDs. So LNG20 is what? A hormone releasing IUD. Even multirode is copper releasing, lipistoop is inert one. Okay, inert IUD. Please remember this. Which of the following is incorrect regarding vasectomy? In vasectomy, what happens is the vas deferens is cut and tied, so the sperms will not be able to pass through the vas deferens. So he is asking what is incorrect here. Is it irreversible sterility? Yes, vasectomy is a kind of irreversible sterility. It is a kind of permanent sterilization method. No sperm occurs in seminal fluid. It is also correct because sperms will not come in the seminal fluid because the vas deferens will not be able to transfer those sperms. No sperm occurs in epididymis. No, this is wrong answer. This is incorrect. Because why the epididymis will not have the sperms? Epididymis will have the normal sperms. The vas deferens has been blocked, or means cut and tied. So there the sperms are not being transported from that region. But epididymis will have the normal sperms. Okay. So here it is a incorrect statement. Next you see tubectomy. Now tubectomy is a method of sterilization in females in which fallopian tubes are cut and tied. Okay. So a small part of the fallopian tube is removed or tied up. Yes. Ovaries are removed surgically. No, that is not the event in tubectomy. A small part of vas deferens. No, vas deferens found in males, so that is also not correct. Uterus is removed surgically. No way the uterus is related with tubectomy. The tubectomy is small part of the fallopian tube is removed or tied up. It is also called as salpingotomy. I told you earlier also. Salpingotomy. Next question you see copper ions from copper releasing intrauterine devices. What they do? What does these copper do? Makes the uterus unsuitable for implantation. Okay, we'll see. Increase phagocytosis of sperm. No, because this is case of hormonal IUDs. Suppresses sperm motility will be the correct answer because copper ions are mainly responsible for what? Suppressing the sperm motility. So better option will go for what? Suppression of the sperm motility. Please remember these questions are important. Copper ions will cause the suppression of the sperm motility. Got it? Which of the following statement is wrong here? He is asking which of the following statement is wrong. So test tube baby begins growth inside the test tube. No way. It is not going to start the development of the test tube. Okay, so this will be the wrong option only. So test tube baby is not going to form in the test tube. Okay, it is just a zygote being developed there, and then you can transfer those that zygote into the uterine region. Before 8 blastomeres if you do, then you can do in the fallopian tubes, and after around 8 or 16 blastomeres you do, then you can transfer it to what? The uterine region. Got it? Come on, the next one. Identify the sexually transmitted disease caused by protozoan. See, it is protozoan. So genital herpes is the viral, gonorrhea is bacterial, syphilis is bacterial, trichomoniasis. This is the one which is caused by protozoan. Okay, Trichomonas vaginalis. This is caused by what? A protozoan called what? Trichomonas vaginalis. Got it now? Let's move to the next question now. In human female, the menstruation can be deferred by the administration of. It's a very simple question. The menstruation will be delayed by if you give more of what? If you give more of what? Progesterone and estrogen combination pills. So if they take estrogen and progesterone combination pills, combined pills, they can defer or delay the menstruation. Okay. So answer should be here what? Combination of estrogen and progesterone. Okay. Next question you see late complications of STDs are. Late complications of STDs. If someone has STDs and they're not it's not detected early, it is being detected very late. So what can happen is it can cause pelvic inflammatory disease. Yes. It can cause ectopic pregnancies also. Yes. Even it can cause infertility also. And even it can lead to abortions also. So all options will be correct here. Got it? It can lead to pelvic inflammatory disease, ectopic pregnancies, and abortion also. Medical termination of pregnancy is considered safe up to how many weeks of pregnancy? See, now it is saying how many weeks it is considered safe. Okay, he's not asking till what extent it can happen. Okay, it can happen to what extent, like 20 weeks or 24 weeks. He is not asking here. He is asking only it is considered safe up till what? So it is considered safe up till only the 12 weeks, the first trimester. Okay, after that it will be a little bit complicated. It is allowed till 20 weeks earlier. Now it has been till 24 weeks also. Okay, so let's move to the next question now. Choose the odd one out about the contraceptive methods. Odd one out means what he wants to talk about. Let's see. It is this condoms, CUT, castration, and vasectomy and tubectomy. See, condoms are a contraceptive, contraceptives. CUT is a contraceptive. Castration is not a contraceptive. Okay, you can't expect removal of testis, okay, being a contraceptive method. And that's not a contraception. It can be a threat to a life also. So that is wrong, because hormone levels will be also affected. So you can't go for surgical removal of testis in that case. So that is not a case of, that's not a contraceptive method. Okay, vasectomy and tubectomy, yes, these are contraceptive methods. These are permanent sterilization method. Amniocentesis involves the analysis of, see, in amniocentesis you are going to check the chromosomes in the amniotic fluid. Okay, you will take part of amniotic fluid and check the chromosomal patterns here. So that will be answer here is amniotic fluid. Got it? Let's move to the next question. Now read the question properly first. If a female is already having 3 children and all are absolutely normal and she wants to use sterilization method, then which sterilization method is most suitable for this female? So obviously she is having how many children? 3 children. Okay, and they are normal anyway. So if she wants to go for a sterilization method, she can go for what? A permanent sterilization method, that is your tubectomy. Okay, so permanent sterilization method will be tubectomy. That means after that she doesn't want any other baby. Okay, in case of a couple where the male is having a very low sperm count, which technique will be suitable for fertilization? So this case you can go for, he is having very low sperm count. So you have to now check which sperm is the best in that. He is already having very low count of the sperm, but you have to check what which is the best sperm from that only. So you have to go for intracytoplasmic sperm injection, by which you can choose the best sperm. One sperm you can choose which is the best, having the best motility, and it is the one which can surpass the other barriers. So that selection will be of one sperm. So you can just go for this technique better. Okay, because you have to select, because already he has very low count, so you have to select the best from that low count only. Okay, embryo with more than 16 blastomeres. See, now the question is embryo with more than 16 blastomeres. Now the blastomere number is more. So if you have to go for transfer, now you'll be going for transfer in what? Will you be going for transfer in fallopian tubes or fimbriae or cervix? 16 blastomeres already. Okay, 8 to 16 blastomere means morula stage, almost morula stage is all over now. So now that has ready for implantation. So implantation can take place in what? Uterus. So embryo with more than 16 blastomeres will be transferred into uterus only. That is called intrauterine transfer, IUT, intrauterine transfer. Got it? Intrauterine transfer. Come on, next question you see now. If male is sterile and female is fertile, then what possible assisted reproductive technology is used for treating the infertility in a particular couple? So just think over it. Male is sterile, female is fertile. So what can be done? What kind of, assisted reproductive technology we can use? See, if male is sterile, we can take the, sperm from the donor, and that will be a case of what? GIFT, that is gamete intrafallopian transfer. So that sperm can be transferred into the fallopian tube where the fertilization can happen. So this is the case of GIFT, that is gamete intrafallopian transfer. Which of the following cannot be detected in a developing fetus by amniocentesis? See, by amniocentesis, you can detect what? The chromosomal disorders, the genetic abnormalities. So this is a chromosomal disorder. Yes, this is the chromosomal disorder. Sex of the fetus also can be detected because X and Y chromosomes can be checked. Down syndrome also can be checked because of the chromosomal analysis. But jaundice is not going to be tested by the chromosomal analysis method. Okay, that's a metabolic problem. So that is not going to be tested by the amniocentesis method. An ideal contraceptive should be, ideal contraceptive should be user friendly. Yes. Easily available. Yes. It should be effective and reversible with no or least side effects. Yes. So all are correct in that. All options are correct in this. In vitro fertilization is a technique that involves transfer of which one of the following into the fallopian tube? In vitro technique, IVF, is it zygote only, or it is the embryo only up to 8-celled stage, or it is either zygote or early embryo up to 8-celled stage? So where are you going to transfer? That is important. It is fallopian tube. Okay, so in the fallopian tube, if you are going, then you can go for till 8 stage. Okay, so you can go for what? You can go for an embryo or the early zygote up to 8-cell stage. Okay, up to 8-cell stage you can go for the transfer of the embryo. Got it? Now the next question says permissible use of technique, that is amniocentesis, is for. So amniocentesis is used for what purpose? Is it used for detecting any genetic abnormality? Yes. So it is permissible use of the technique amniocentesis is for detecting any genetic abnormality. It is correct. Okay. So this can be what? Correct here. Got it? Next case, you see, detecting the sex of the unborn fetus. No, that is not used. That is something, if there is some genetic abnormality, then only we can consult it. For consultation, we can go for further detection. Artificial insemination. No, for artificial insemination, we are not going to use anyway amniocentesis. Transfers of embryo into the uterus of a surrogate mother. For a surrogate mother, if you want to transfer the embryo, why will you use amniocentesis in that case? No way. Okay. So the only correct option you can see is detecting any genetic abnormality. That will be the only correct answer, because you have to check for any, abnormal chromosomal number or something. Then you are going to check for what? Amniocentesis. So this will not be the right answer for this. Which of the following contraceptive methods involves a role of a hormone? Okay, so it's very good question. You see, which of the following contraceptive methods involves a role of a hormone? So CUT involves role of a hormone here, or copper. So that's gone. So you can rule out this. Okay. Pills, emergency contraceptives, and barrier methods. So barrier methods are not going to use anyway some hormone in that. No hormone is being used in barrier method. Lactational amenorrhea, yes, you are going to go for a prolactin hormone is involved. Pills, you have the estrogen, progesterone. Emergency contraceptive also has the progesterones. Okay, so this will be the right answer. You see, he is asking which of the following contraceptive methods involves hormones. So hormones are only involved in this. Okay, so barrier method is not going to involve anyway hormones. copper T is not going to involve any hormone in that. So that is why the answer is lactation amenorrhea, because it is going to increase related with what? Prolactin higher levels. Pills are used using what? Estrogen and progesterone combination. So pills are using estrogen progesterone combination. Okay, progesterone and estrogen combination here. And the contraceptive, emergency contraceptive are also using what? Progesterone. So it is the only correct answer. Let's see what is the action of Saheli. As you know, Saheli is a non-steroidal drug. So Saheli is not going to anyway affect the ovulation process. Okay, so is it anti-estrogenic or something? Is it anti-estrogenic? Is it steroidal or something? No, it is not anti-estrogenic, but yes, we will go for a little bit more options. Is it anti-progesterogenic? No way. Releasing progesterone prevents implantation. No, progesterone is not preventing anyway implantation. Releasing copper inhibits motility of sperm. So you see, we can go for only the first option here as the correct one, because the anti-estrogenic, if they talk about, means yes, it can be in one case, because here they are talking about Saheli is going to cause the blockage of the receptors of estrogen. So in that case, it can be correct. Okay, anti-estrogenic means this is going to block. The Saheli has a component called centchromin. Okay, centchromin is a component which is present in what? Saheli. So this centchromin component is going to be what? It's a component which is going to block estrogen receptors. Okay, so estrogen receptors will be blocked in case of Saheli by centchromin. So we can go for this as a correct answer. Okay, I thought it's going to be directly against the hormone. No, it's not going to be against the hormone directly. It's going to block the estrogen receptors. So in that case, it is anti-estrogenic. Okay, it is not going to be a steroidal component which is anti-estrogenic. So I thought first that. Okay, chalo. Which of the following contraceptive method makes the uterus unsuitable for implantation? Now you see it says makes the uterus unsuitable for implantation. So usually if you talk about IUDs, IUDs are the one which make the uterine region unsuitable for implantation. So here we can go for the right answer as what? Condom is the wrong, Mala D wrong, this is wrong. This is the correct answer as IUDs, that is intrauterine devices, or IUCDs, intrauterine contraceptive devices. In which of the following contraceptive method side effects are almost nil? So side effects are usually found in most of the contraceptive methods. Side effects, if they are almost nil, that will be usually what? Natural method. So natural method, if you see, pills are not a natural, IUDs are not natural, implants are not natural. So which is natural method? That is coitus interruptus. Okay, coitus interruptus, that is withdrawal method, we can say. That is the one which is a natural method of contraception. So this will not have any side effects. Okay, next one. An injectable form of the hormone based. You see now, injectable, this is injectable form of the hormone based contraceptive. So injectable form of the hormone based contraceptive, if I talk about, so Norplant is not injectable. Okay, Depo-Provera, yes, Depo-Provera is a injectable form of contraceptive. Okay, so we'll go for what? Injectable form as Depo-Provera. In menstrual cycle, between the days 6th to 13th, 6th day to 13th day, he is talking about what event is going on. So what event is going on? So most of the students will think what? Follicular phase also and proliferative phase. That means they will be going for D option, correct? Most of the students will be going for D option. But here you see, he is asking 6th to 13th, which one of the following ovarian event takes place? So ovary region, what is going on is only the follicular phase. Proliferative phase occurring in the uterine region. So uterine region we are not talking about. Okay, uterine region if I talk about, what is going on in uterine region is your proliferative phase, but follicular development was taking place in what? Ovarian region. So ovarian event is follicular phase. Please remember, which one of the following hormone surge during 14th day? Now during 14th day, which surge is causing the ovulation process? That is your LH. LH surge causes ovulation. As you know, LH surge causes ovulation. All of you know this very well, I think. Okay. FSH level is also high during 14th day, but LH is at peak level. So that is why we say LH surge causes what? Ovulation. Got it? Next, you see. Next question is rise in BBT. So what is BBT? Basal body temperature. Basal body temperature. So basal body temperature rise is due to the increase of which one of the following hormone? Which hormone is increased because of which the basal body temperature increases? That is your progesterone. Just now I told you progesterone is thermogenic. That means it produces what? Heat. So because of that heat, the basal body temperature is increased. Okay, so we'll go answer as progesterone. Please remember, these questions are important. Okay, so you should know the concept behind it. Now find out the incorrect match. Incorrect match with reference to female reproductive system. You find out first. You try to find out which is the incorrect match in this. Is it the Fimbriae which helps in the collection of the ovum after ovulation? Yes, Fimbriae is going to help in the collection. Na? Fimbriae is there, na? Which is going to help. So these Fimbriae, what they do? These Fimbriae, what they do is they help in the collection of ovum. Is this correct? So, but he is asking the incorrect thing. Cervical canal is the copulatory canal. Is the cervical canal copulatory canal or a kind of birth canal? So I think this should be the wrong one. Let's see. Endometrium undergoes cyclical changes. This is absolutely correct. Undergoes cyclical changes is endometrium. Clitoris is a tiny finger-like structure which lies at the upper junction of two labia minora. Two labia minora, yes. Above the urethral opening, yes. So this is also correct. So this is also correct. This is also correct. So this is the cervical canal. Cervical canal along with the vagina is called as birth canal. Please remember, cervical canal, okay, cervical canal plus the vagina together is called as birth canal. Please remember this. Okay, let's move to the next question now. Germinal epithelium is which type of epithelium? See, germinal epithelium, if I talk about the ovarian region, if you talk about the ovaries are having the outer layer as what? The cuboidal layer. Okay, the cuboidal layer is there. So outermost layer which is covering the ovarian region is cuboidal. So cuboidal layer which is there, cuboidal cells. So these cuboidal cells which are there, they form a cuboidal epithelium, and that is also called as germinal epithelium. The cuboidal cells are present here. Got it? Cuboidal epithelium is the answer for the germinal epithelium, is a type of cuboidal epithelium. The fluid filled in the antrum. Now in the tertiary follicle, you start seeing what? The cavity. In tertiary follicle, there is a cavity developed. Okay, so this is a tertiary follicle here. In the tertiary follicle, what you start looking into is the development of what? The development of a structure called antrum. Okay, so this is what? This is the fluid here which is developing, and this fluid which is present here is called as antrum. In the space, it is called antrum. The space is antrum, and the fluid which is filled in this, the fluid which is present here, okay, the fluid which is present in this case, this fluid which is present here is called as what? Liquor folliculi. Okay, in the antrum you'll find a fluid called what? Liquor folliculi. Okay, follicular fluid. The follicular fluid will be present in what? Antrum, and that antrum is characterized in what? Tertiary follicle. Got it now? Clear? Let's move to the next question now. The ruptured follicle that gets filled with clotted blood. So just after the corpus luteum, okay, it gets filled with a little bit blood. So that time it is called as corpus hemorrhagicum. So when the clotted blood is present in that, it is called what? Corpus hemorrhagicum. Okay, please remember, corpus hemorrhagicum. Which of the following hormone will maintain the corpus luteum after 4 months of pregnancy? Now he's saying after 4 months of pregnancy, who is going to maintain the pregnancy or the corpus luteum? So after 4 months, who is going to maintain? Earlier it was maintained by LH hormone. Now it is going to be maintained by HCG hormone, human chorionic gonadotropin. So human chorionic gonadotropin hormone is going to maintain the pregnancy. Okay, later on. If pregnancy doesn't take place, the corpus luteum degenerates to form a white fibrous mass. Now he says a white fibrous mass of tissue known as. Now corpus luteum is going to turn into a white fibrous mass afterwards if the fertilization doesn't take place. That is called corpus albicans. That is called as what? Corpus albicans. Please remember, it will turn into a whitish color structure if they ask you. That is corpus albicans. The mammary glands are modified. So obviously most of the students will be knowing the mammary glands are modified what? Sweat glands, correct? But sweat glands other name is what? Sudoriferous gland. So this is also correct. This is also correct. So that is why the answer will be more than one option is correct, because sweat glands are also called sudoriferous glands. Got it? Cervical mucus test is also called as, very important question. Cervical mucus, just before 7 days of ovulation, the cervical mucus starts becoming, I'm saying, a little bit stretchable and, a little bit more of watery. So at that time, just at the time of ovulation, it has to be a little bit slippery. Okay. So that cervical mucus is taken a little bit, cervical mucus, and is checked. Okay, by the finger. That's called as Spin-Barket test. Spin-Barket is a word from the German word which means stretchable. So at that time, cervical mucus is what? Very stretchable. So that is very important. That is a test to means if any couple wants to have a conception, means to want a baby. So what they can do is they can plan accordingly. They can check the cervical mucus, and if it is more of stretchable, that is the time of ovulation only it happens. So that is a good indicator. They can go for a coitus, and if they want a baby. Okay. So Spin-Barket test. Understood? Cervical mucus test is also called as what? Spin-Barket test. Okay. Anyway, these are the different tests. You know that Vidal test for typhoid. Okay. Schick test is for diphtheria. Dick test is for the disease, bacterial disease only. Okay. Which of the following is not included under the barrier method of birth control? Okay. Which of the following is not included under the barrier methods of birth control? So barrier method, which is not there, you see. Vaginal pouch, yes, they are barrier methods. Okay. Diaphragm, barrier method. Cervical cap, barrier method. Implant is not a barrier method. Okay. It is not a barrier. It is not, it's allowing the sperms to go there. They are further, they are getting what? Either they are getting the phagocytosis. Phagocytosis will happen in that region, but they are not blocking them to go inside. Okay. They are not going to block them anyway. In the rhythm method of birth control, the couple refrains from intercourse. So in the rhythm method, if you see, okay, rhythm method, the couple refrains from intercourse 3 days before ovulation and 3 days after ovulation. Okay, 3 days before ovulation and 3 days after ovulation. Means in a 28 days menstrual cycle, between 10th day to 17th day, they refrain from the intercourse. So it is 3 days before and 3 days after the ovulation. Got it now? Which of the following is not a natural contraceptive method? Not a natural contraceptive method means it should be artificial one, like pills or something. Let's see. This is a natural. Periodic abstinence, yes. Coitus interruptus, yes. Lactational amenorrhea, yes. So these are all natural methods, but medical termination of pregnancy, okay, medical termination of pregnancy is not a natural one. Got it now? Medical termination of pregnancy is not a natural one. Please write down. Okay, MTP means medical termination of pregnancy. The diaphragm is a dome shaped structure and stops the sperm from entering into. So diaphragm walls, these are used to block the sperm from entering the cervical region. Okay, so answer should be here is cervix. Which of the following factor induces the lactational amenorrhea? So lactational amenorrhea is due to which factor? Is it due to increased level of estrogen? No. Is it due to decreased level of oxytocin? No. Is it due to increased level of prolactin? Yes. When the prolactin level increases, that causes what? Lactational amenorrhea. Got it? When the prolactin level is high, the fertilization will not happen there. Even the menstrual cycle also doesn't take place properly. Among the following methods, which one has the highest failure rate? So if someone has highest failure rate, usually they are what? Natural methods. So diaphragm with spermicide, it will have a good success rate. Condom has a good success rate. Intrauterine device has a good success rate. But high failure rate will be in case of rhythm method, because this is a natural method. Okay, so natural method, it's having a high failure rate. They have no side effects, but they have high failure rate. What is Depo-Provera? Depo-Provera, as we talked about, it is an injectable, contraceptive. So this is a injectable contraceptive. You can go for it. Injectable contraceptive. Got it? Injectable contraceptive. Oral contraceptives mainly check. So what does these oral contraceptives are doing? Oral contraceptives are mainly checking what? Ovulation, because they have good high level of estrogen and progesterone. So they will check what? They will check ovulation. Got it? Thank you. And there's a time for your, there's a time which is very precious. So utilize your time very carefully. All the best. Thank you.